My name is Wallace Lynch, and I'm the founder of Alpha Token. So, yeah, please load the slide. We are walking into a world that cryptocurrency is becoming more and more popular. But probably we haven't realized that what kind of change that the digital world are making to our life. So, let's see. So, how many of you here haven't been owning a certain type of crypto yet? All right, so almost everyone here are a crypto owner. Right, so we have a very high population here that already into the crypto world. But 8 years ago, when we're talking about Bitcoin, probably you will get scolded by your family and friends and your colleagues, right? Okay. Are we having the... Sorry, someone... Okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah. Let's roll. So the society, what we have known for a long time, is traditionally based on the physical asset, what we have. Gold, diamonds, whatever precious you have. But for now, we have cryptocurrencies, and we have all kinds of digital goods. And as we know of, that our value probably is going to be more representative by our digital asset and less about the physical asset. So what are we going to do with our data or information? As we know, all behavior that we have generates a certain information. And the data, it is the form that information digitalized can be stored or can be cashed out. And there are two types of the information. One is intentional, like what we create, a game, an article, a video, right? So these are intentional information. And we are also generating the unintentional information as well by walking, by talking and browsing, like your geolocation data, your browsing history, right? So we generate these data, but who owns it? Do we cash out this information? That's why Mark Zuckerberg was in Capitol Hill for the hearing. And the last month, most of the major internet companies are updating their privacy users agreement. So the time has come to us that we need to be very sensitive and cautious about our digital life. All right. So let's think about how we consume and create content. So game is a type of digital content. And everything that we create digitally can be accumulated through our life. All right? As content creator, where do we publish our content? Game platform, App Store, YouTube, you name it. But when you create those content, when you publish through those centralized platforms, guess who owns the intellectual property? Probably not you. If you look at the term of use, it is the platform. So you might get tens of millions of views for your cat's video or your game video, but you don't actually own that intellectual property. And even your video or your content get popular, do you get money for it? Monetary return. It's hard. Why? Because the content trade system, it is fundamentally flawed. All right. So in the human history, that everything has its value. Say you buy a car. What is the highest value of your car? That's the moment before you step on the gas pedal, right? Once it's driven off, then it goes down. So after 10 years of driving, 10,000, 100,000 miles of driving, probably the car has nothing left. But content is different. When you write a game that you publish today, it probably does not worth a lot of money. But after 10,000 people and play it for a year, how much it's gonna worth, right? So if it gets more popular, it's gonna worth more. So intellectual property, the content, the more you consume, the more it values. So the money invented for the physical world to trade horses, to trade gold, is not really suitable for the content. So we need a new type of currency. All right, finally it comes. So we are talking about changing of the game. All right. So this is why we need to change the way we use the money and the trading system for different goods, specifically for content here. All right. So ICO is a form that we use to finance this type of activity, for example, building games and distributing contents. And since last year, ICO, the fund funneled into ICO has surpassed the VC investment. So we have some speakers this morning tell us, is VC funding dying? All right. Yes, ICO is becoming a major vehicle to carry out fundraising in the tech world. And nowadays, I don't believe any company don't want to call themselves a crypto company in the Valley. All right, so the nature of ICO, it's very simple, but probably we still need a public education. So it is not a product. It is merely a method to raise fund, and it is not a purpose, although a lot of companies still deem ICO as a purpose to reel in the money, and it is not suitable for every walk of life. It's only suitable for a certain type of products. For example, game is a very good direction to go with. So with all these ICOs, then the real value pegging, it is something that an investor or a developer need to really look into. A lot of air tokens claim they have the value in the real estate or in some physical good. Frankly speaking, I would say it's very, very hard to do that or at all. Because how could you pegging a digitalized, a decentralized digital good with a certain physical product? It could, but it's very, very difficult. I would say for now, unless it's hardware, it's hard to do that. And also, we need to have an irreplaceable user scenario to make this happen. If this is something that can be used or be traded in the traditional way, probably we don't have very good reason to issue another token. Basically, we are making money, right? And the last point, the bottom line, I think it's most important. When investors and crypto players come into this game, people are looking for 100-fold, 10,000-fold the return. But what is the reason for us to have such kind of return? If this is a zero-sum game, it's not going to happen. Traditionally, most of the economic behavior, it happens in a zero-sum game, meaning my gain is your loss, or vice versa. That happens in the traditional economy a lot. But in the content business, it might not be the case. Because when we have an intellectual good that we have a going up trend whenever you create the content, and when the content is consumed, it will go up. So as long as we human beings are creating the content, it will go up. The total volume will grow up. So that's theoretically an infinite game. It is not a zero-sum game. So when we have the infinite value increasing, and we have a limited amount of supply of the token, it's a simple math, all right? Then let's go back to see the content trade. We have three players: the creator, the consumer, and the advertisers. Creators does not get fairly compensated nowadays for most of the part. Everybody knows that Taylor Swift quitted Spotify, right? Even Taylor Swift is not getting fairly compensated. Who else will? And consumers, we have been spending about 5-6 hours every day on our mobile devices and our computers. And at least 15% of those time, on average, are spending on commercial content and advertisement. And our life is being trapped in this content. Are we getting compensated monetarily? No, right? Nobody gets paid for that, and it should be compensated. And also for advertisers, well, it sounds an evil word, but advertisers get screwed as well. At least 70-60% of the total advertisement budget goes to the channels and distribution platforms. It does not reach the real users like you and me, which it should. Or it should loop back to the development. So the content creation is also jacked. So the content business here, including the game distribution and development, has a huge opportunity to recapture those evaporated value that we have. So the whole story is we are still using the fiat money predated the Industrial Revolution, and use it for the new game. So it's bringing a knife to a gunfight for the new digital world. So as I mentioned, that the intellectual property will go up, the content is more valuable. All right, so coming back to the key question, who owns our digital asset? As long as we are on a centralized platform, then we are not the owner of our own digital asset. The intentional information, as I mentioned, and the unintentional information that we generated, we shall own it. So, into the digital world, that we don't want to be a dweller in the digital realm, just like the movie Player One, right? We're not enslaved to our digital shell. What we want to do is to get hold on our digital asset. And freedom and democracy smells different in nowadays. So just list a few. We shall own the entirety of our digital asset. Probably we don't have the concept yet, but soon I think it needs to be awakened from our heart. It's just like the Second Amendment. We're supposed to own something to protect ourselves. And this is more important than anything else in the future. And also, we should be able to refuse the binding of personal information from other information by accessing, using the technology or services. And sometimes, we don't have the choice. So for a decentralized world, as a developer and crypto believers, that what we want to do is to create an alternative space, especially with the realistic user scenario. Game, apps, platforms, and of course, the currencies. To make ourselves empowered to do that, at least we have an alternative, a decentralized alternative. And also, in order to protect ourselves, that a centralized platform, it is a good excuse to put everybody's money into one big pot. That's why most of the centralized crypto exchange get hacked. from Mt. Gox to Binance to Huobi to OK Exchange. Every single one of them get hacked. Why? Because they are centralized platform for a decentralized system, which is not right. So I'm very happy to see some decentralized exchange and wallet actually happening here today. So we need to make sure that the profit that we are making are built on the digital asset that we own for ourselves. The thing that we protect for ourselves, it is the way that we protect ourselves from taking other people's advantage. Only this way that we can protect ourselves. And the last one is interesting. No representation. The democracy is built on the governance and consensus. But in the ancient time, I mean, not too ancient, it's impossible to get everybody into the same place at the same time to do voting, right? And to make decisions. But nowadays, with the technology, blockchain, as well as the internet, we actually can have everyone to participate in the decision making. We don't need to come to the same place. We don't even need to be on the same earth. As long as the decision can be made through the internet, it's light speed, right? So we don't need any representation. So this is the new form of the governance in the social and economic development. That's what we are facing now. So very simple to sum it up. In a game-changing era, what we want to do is to maintain the ownership of our digital asset, our information, intentionally and unintentionally. So my Alpha Token Foundation, we develop a browser, a publisher, a token, and a wallet to help content creators to publish their own content to make profit for themselves 100%. To help the user to view the content, to pay for the content to the content creator at a fair price. And of course, the platform, which is the browser, is not taking a cut. And better yet, when you view commercial or promotional content, you are sure to get compensated with our token. And our token, Alpha Token, it is a utility token to carry out in this content trade ecosystem and make sure that the trade in our wallet, remember, it is not on the exchange, in the wallet, it's a direct crypto smart contract level trading, is decentralized. Nobody owns your token. Nobody has your key store. It is completely with you. So through this system, we can control the ownership and the return to our intellectual property, and also make sure that our privacy information is protected with our own machine. So this is what we do, and I hope the game developer community can join us for this call for a Digicen, which is digital citizen.